Good morning, student. Today we will study the law of radioactivity. Okay? What is radioactivity, student? It is the ejection of nucleons from the nucleus spontaneously, student. That is known as radioactivity. Ejection of nucleons from or inside the nucleus. That is the radioactivity, student. This process takes place. It is independent of the temperature. Nobody can control this process, student. It takes up spontaneously. And at any time, nucleus undergoes radioactivity to come to the stable stage. Because as you know, we have studied from the binding energy curve, the large nucleus is highly unstable. So to bring the stability, it decays. The process is known as decaying process, student. So this process can take place in different ways. In one manner, a nucleus emits alpha particles known as alpha decay, student. Alpha decay. In this process, inside the nucleus, an alpha particle is emitted. This is emitted, student. And the example is uranium. Uranium converts into thorium and alpha particle is emitted. That is the nuclear reaction which takes place, student. So in process of alpha decay, what happens is, suppose we have a nucleus X whose mass number is A, atomic number is Z. So when alpha decay process takes place, student, a new daughter nuclei is formed whose mass number is decreased by 4 and atomic number is decreased by 2, plus and helium nucleus is emitted, student. Now in this process, student, energy is liberated, and energy liberated means there is a decrease in mass. So we have defined a Q value of the reaction. Q value, how it is measured, student? The mass of the nucleus minus this is known as Q value of the reaction, student. And what is the basic formula? Q value of the nuclear reaction: mass of initial mass minus final mass, this, into C square. And for alpha decay, student, the value of Q is greater than 0 for alpha decay. This means it is an exothermic process. The energy is liberated in this process, student. This is the one way how a nuclei can decay, as I told the example. Now another way of decay is, student, it can also decay in the form of a beta decay. Now what is beta decay, student? Beta decay is in beta decay, what happens, student? In one case, a neutron converts into a proton, plus an electron is emitted, plus a particle known as antineutrino. This particle is very difficult to detect, student. It can penetrate any matter very easily. There are lots of neutrinos which are coming from the sun also, student. This is known as beta minus decay, student. In this, electron is emitted from the nucleus. Now another beta decay process is there, student, in which the proton converts into neutron plus a positron, the opposite antiparticle of electron, having same mass but opposite charge, positron, plus neutrino is emitted, student. This is known as neutrino. Antineutrino and neutrino, student. Since the mass of the proton is less than the mass of the neutron, this process can take place only inside the nucleus, student. It cannot take place independently. This free neutron can convert into proton, but this cannot happen independently. So this can happen only inside the nucleus, student. So this is another process by which a nuclei can decay, means it to come to the stable stage. It may undergo this process, and for this also, student, I am giving you one example. Phosphorus converts into silver, student. Phosphorus converts into sulfur. Sorry, it's not silver, it is sulfur, student. This remains, mass number remains same, this increases. Beta decay, see proton is increasing. Beta minus decay. Plus an electron plus antineutrino is emitted, student. This is beta minus decay. And another example of beta plus decay, student, is beta plus decay. In this, student, sodium converts into neon. Here, students, see atomic number, the number of proton is decreasing because one proton is converted into neutron. That is why it is decreasing. Plus here, student, a positron is emitted plus neutrino, and antiparticle of antineutrino, neutrino, student. This is beta plus decay, student. So in one way how nuclei can decay is the alpha decay, another way is beta decay, and another, student, way by which the nucleus can decay, and that is known as, student, gamma decay. Gamma decay, student. In this, student, what happens is a nucleus in the excited state jumps to another lower energy state. So what is gamma decay? Nuclei in excited state jumps to lower energy states. So the energy level of nucleus is very high, student. It is around more than 100 kilo electron volt, greater than, very high energy it is. So that energy is emitted in the form of gamma radiation, student. Gamma radiations. One example I will quote, student, of this is cobalt. Cobalt, student, first it undergoes beta minus decay. First it undergoes, student, beta minus decay, and as you know, after this, now the nucleus, here the nucleus is in the excited state. From here, student, it comes to lower energy state in two steps. So here one energy of gamma radiation is emitted. Its value, student, is around 1.17 mega electron volt. Again the nucleus jumps from this state to another lower state, student. And in this, student, the energy is emitted is about 1.33 mega electron volt, student. And in this case, the cobalt is ultimately it is converted into nickel, student, because due to this beta decay it is converted. After that, that nickel jumps in the excited state from higher state to the lower state, student. This is the example of gamma radiation, student. So from the radioactive study which was done by Becquerel, from a radioactive sample means the substance which is spontaneously decaying. So from the sample, student, the radiations which are emitted, they were subjected to the electric and magnetic field. This was the electric field, student. This was the sample from where radioactive is coming out. Okay, student. And this was the electric field applied outside. Now the radiation which were coming, student. One radiation went straight. One means certain radiations. These were gamma radiation, student. They are neutral, they are independent of the electric and magnetic field. Now another radiation which was emitted, student, was the alpha particle. Due to its high mass and it will gain high momentum, so it will deflect like this. These are the alpha particles, student, attracted towards the negative plate. And some rays were the beta particles, they are the electrons. Electrons have a very less momentum, so they bend very easily here only. They does not cover very large distance, student. These are beta particles, means electrons. So three kinds of rays were emitted from the radioactive nuclei. But remember, students, they cannot emit simultaneously all the rays. At a particular time, one nuclei will emit either an alpha particle or a beta particle, but it will not emit simultaneously. Another thing, it will emit only one alpha particle or one beta at a particular time. Sometimes it may happen after emitting an alpha particle that the daughter nucleus is excited state. Now that daughter nucleus can emit a beta radiation after further process. That can be done. But simultaneously both the rays cannot be emitted. And same case with the gamma rays, student. When a nucleus after emitting alpha or beta rays, if it remains in the excited state, it comes to the lower energy state. In this state, now it emits gamma radiations. So these are the three radiations which are emitted by alpha radioactive sample, student, alpha, beta and gamma. Now student, two properties. One is penetrating power. So penetrating power was highest for gamma radiations and lowest for alpha radiations. And beta and the beta radiations, they have a higher than, the penetrating power of beta is higher than alpha, but it is less than gamma radiations. So this is the sequence you have to remember, highest to lowest, penetrating power. Now another is ionizing power, student. Alpha particles were having the highest ionizing power due to its highest mass. When it strikes the other nuclei, it ionizes them. So alpha radiations highest. Beta radiations less than alpha. I mean, I am comparing ionizing power. And gamma is the least. Least ionizing power gamma radiation has. This is on the basis of the mass you can explain. Alpha has a higher mass as compared to beta. And gamma radiation, they are simply radiations, student. Electromagnetic radiations of very high energy. So these are the sequence, student, which you have to remember. Though all of them can ionize, but this is the comparison has been made, student. The speed is highest of the gamma radiations. Beta less than gamma and alpha is the least. Alpha has the least speed as compared to this. This moves with the speed of light. So this is a certain properties which you have to study, student, about the alpha, beta and gamma. Now I am coming to, student, the law of radioactive decay. Law of radioactive decay. Students, the radioactive reaction, they are totally uncontrolled by any external factors. It is a probability chance which nuclei will decay when and which nuclei will emit alpha particle or beta particle. But certain things which are experimental evidences were studied, okay, on that basis these laws were made straight. The first was the rate of decay, means the number of nuclei decaying per unit time is found to be directly proportional to number of nuclei present at that instant. Suppose delta n nuclei decay. Delta n is the number, okay, in time delta t. This is directly proportional to number of nuclei present at that instant. So if I found out, student, rate of change of the rate of decay, it is written as like this. You understand the difference between delta n and dn? Delta n is a number, student. Number of nuclei decay. Number of nuclei which has undergone decay, that is the number. But dn is the change in number of nuclei. Suppose, student, we have in the starting 100 nucleus. 100 nucleus हमारे पास था. उसमें से सपोज 40 डीके हो गया. 40 has undergone decay process. This delta n is 40. How much is the change, student? Change in the number of nuclei. Change will be, student, 40 minus 100 minus 60. So it has been observed that this dn by dt is proportional to n, and student, it is proportional to minus n because the number of nuclei is decreasing with respect to time. Now this quantity, student, will become dn by dt will be equal to minus, this is known as, student, rate of decay or number of nuclei decaying per unit time. That is the meaning of this. And this n is the number of nuclei left after a certain time. Now, student, for further, what we will do is the mathematics. We will integrate, student, both the side. Suppose at time t is equal to t0, the number of nuclei which were there was n0. Then after a certain time, this becomes n. This is how the limit is kept, student. So if I solve this, student, this will become, I am placing the limit also, log n is equal to minus lambda t minus t0. This will become log n upon n0 minus lambda. Suppose I am taking, student, t0 to be 0. Then this formula ultimately comes out to be, student, n is equal to n0 e raised to minus lambda t. This is number of nuclei present or left after time t. This is the number of nuclei present initially in the starting time at t is equal to 0. So this, if you see the mathematical term, student, if I draw the graph, this is time, this is number of nuclei. The graph is an exponential decay, student, like this. This will come, student. Now, student, if we say that, take the example of alpha decay. Where uranium, I am writing it here, uranium converts into thorium. In the starting, suppose N0 number of uranium was there. Okay, student. Now, after a time t, number of uranium left was N. This means the remaining, they have been converted into thorium. This means, student, number of thorium will be N0 minus N. Number of thorium left created will be N0 minus N. Starting N0 was there and uranium became N. So that remaining, they have been converted into thorium, and from the nucleus alpha particles were emitted. So if this is the number of thorium, student, okay. So this, if I write N0 is equal to this, and if I substitute here, student, N0 E minus lambda T. So their formula will become 1 minus. So if I draw the graph for thorium, student, the graph will be like this. This graph will be like this. Means as this is decaying, the thorium, number of thorium will go on in exponential rise. It is increasing, student. Say the difference between this and this term, student. You must understand. The graph for this is this kind of graph, and the graph for this is this kind of graph. Now, student, there is another parameter known as half-life. Now, a very interesting thing was observed, student, about the nucleus, that I will explain you by the help of an example. Suppose, student, in the starting 100 nuclei were there. Starting 100 nuclei. And say after 5 days, in 5 days 50 have decayed. 50 decay in 5 days. So the number of nuclei which are left after 5 days will be 100 minus 50, 50. Okay, student. See, listen very carefully, the interesting fact about this. This means to decay 50 nuclei, it has taken 5 days. So now what is the expectation? In the next 5 days, the number of nuclei must become 0 on the basis of this observation. But in reality it was observed it is not becoming 0. In next 5 days it is becoming 25, student. See the interesting fact. Now 25 nuclei were left. See, starting first 5 days 50 nuclei decay. So remaining was 50. Now in the next 5 days what it was observed it is becoming 25. It is not becoming 0. Now again it was observed in next 5 days. It was becoming 12.5. See the interesting fact, student. Means it is becoming half of the previous value, not the half of the starting value. This is half-life, student. So what is half-life? It is the time during which number of nuclei remains half of its previous quantity. Half of its previous, that is half-life, student. Now if you see the expression in the starting, n is equal to, this was the formula which you have achieved, student. So after one half-life, denoted by T half, this number will become n0 by 2, student. Okay, lambda T. This will cancel. This will become 2 is equal to e raised to lambda T half. Taking logarithm on both the sides. This will become lambda T half, student. So T half will be log 2 upon lambda. This comes out to be, this lambda, student, already told you it is a decay constant or disintegration constant. It specifies how fast the nuclear decay is taking place or how much slow it is. From this value we can find out. So this is the half-life formula, student. There is another word known as, student, mean life. What happens, student, from a sample of large number of nuclei, student, okay, which one will decay when? We cannot be sure about it. Some nuclei may decay within 100 days, some nuclei may decay after 1 year. So on this basis, suppose a large number of nuclei which are assembled together, if you take the total life of all the atom, total life of all the nuclei upon total number of nuclei, this quantity is known as mean life, student. Okay, student? And this, the relation of mean life comes out to be this, student. This you have to remember. This is, student, 1 by lambda. This is mean life, student. And just now we have calculated half-life. It is 0.693 upon lambda, student. So if you compare, if you see which one is higher, this is higher. Mean life is higher as compared to, student, half-life. There is one more formula, student, which relates to this. T half is equal to into tau. Okay, student. Now, student, there is another very important parameter which has been defined. That is activity. Activity means number of nuclei disintegrating per second. Its SI unit is becquerel. Means 1 becquerel means 1 decay per second. There is another unit of activity known as Curie. 1 Curie means 3.7 into 10 raised to 10 decay per second. But this is the SI unit, student, of activity. Now we will see an expression of activity, student. As I told you, activity is number of nuclei decaying per second. Say denoted by R, it is denoting activity by R. dN by dt, student. If you differentiate this expression, student, I will get, if I differentiate this, I will get lambda n0 e raised to minus lambda. This is one formula of activity, student. Now this lambda n0 can be written as r0 e raised to minus lambda t. R0 is the activity at t is equal to 0. This is activity at a time t second. Now this n0 is n, students. Another formula of activity we get lambda. So these are the formulas, students, which you have to remember of the activity, because, student, the nucleus is undergoing decay. So this is an activity. So how much is the activity? It is measured by actually the rate of disintegration. That is measuring the activity. Means this quantity. So these are the relations which you have to do. This R is stands for activity at time t is equal to t second. Activity at t is equal to at t second. And this is activity at t is equal to 0. Lambda n 0. This you have to remember, student. So, student, this is all about the chapter radioactivity, where we have to study about alpha, beta and gamma ray properties, about the nuclear reaction process, and then this law of radioactive decay, student. And remember, student, at a one time only one ray will be emitted. Simultaneously it is not possible that is emitting alpha also or beta also. And the reason, basic behind the reason is the nucleus tries to attain the stable state due to its instability. Okay, student, thank you, and we'll continue in the next class.